At my mom's birthday dinner, my niece tugged at my wrist and said, "Grandpa says your watch is fake." Then she dropped it into her drink while everyone laughed. That night, I ended the $1,500 monthly payment I'd been making for their SUV. And that's when the panic began. My name's Rebecca. I'm from Tempe, Arizona. 3 nights ago, at my mom's birthday dinner, my niece tossed my Rolex into her Sprite while my entire family laughed like it was a game. That was the moment I decided they'd get nothing more from me. For years, I was the one they relied on, the one who always said, "Sure, I'll handle it." It started with small things, cakes, baby showers, a loan here and there. But over time, my generosity became an expectation. And whenever I tried to set boundaries, I was met with guilt trips or mockery. The dinner itself was supposed to be simple, close family, a few drinks, steaks, and a cake I ordered from my mom's favorite bakery. I even created a slideshow for her, digitizing old photos, some I had to pull from storage and pay to restore. I didn't mind. I thought it would be meaningful. Everyone arrived dressed nicely, especially my brother Ryan and his wife Tiffany. Their daughter Ellie, just 6, ran around the table like she owned the place, loud, spoiled, already speaking to waiters as if they were beneath her. We had just finished dinner. I was sipping wine, watching my mom smile at a photo of herself from 1985, when Ellie came over and tugged at my arm. I assumed she wanted to see the watch, so I leaned closer. Instead, she said, "Grandpa says this is fake," and dropped it into her drink. For 1 second, there was silence. Then the table erupted with laughter. Ryan was nearly doubled over. Tiffany tried to hide her grin. Even my mom looked like she was fighting back a smile. My dad didn't bother hiding his. No one said a word to Ellie. No one told her she was out of line or that destroying someone's property wasn't acceptable. I stayed quiet. I fished the watch out myself, dripping and sticky, wrapped it in a napkin, and smiled as if it didn't matter. But it did. That watch wasn't about the money. I had bought it after closing the biggest deal of my career, a 3-year contract that earned me a 6-figure bonus. It was a milestone, and while my father never once congratulated me, he apparently decided it was fake. My niece repeated it proudly. I finished dinner, paid the bill, tipped generously, hugged my mom, then went home. That night, without anger, I opened my banking app and canceled every payment they had come to expect. The $1,500 for their SUV. Gone. The $400 I sent mom monthly for groceries and utilities, gone. The family cell plan, along with Netflix, Hulu, and Disney Plus, logged out on all their TVs, gone. By morning, the fallout began. At 7:42, Tiffany called about the car payment. At 8 o'clock, Ryan started texting question marks. At 9 o'clock, Dad called, then texted. I ignored them all, made coffee, ate breakfast, and went on with my day. By lunch, panic had already set in. By the second day, the tone shifted. First confusion, then guilt, and finally anger. Tiffany left a long voicemail, starting with, "I'm just trying to understand what you think you're doing." Ryan's text said, "Not cool, Beck," followed by complaints about the SUV and how I had blindsided them. No apology, no acknowledgement of what happened at dinner. Not even a simple, "We're sorry Ellie did that." Nothing. Just entitlement disguised as concern. They forgot who made all of this possible. The SUV lease was in my name. I paid the down payment. I passed the credit checks that Ryan alone would have failed. I wasn't just their financial safety net, I was their plan B. and I had kept every receipt. So I made one call to the leasing company, telling them I was surrendering the vehicle. They scheduled a tow within 5 business days. By the weekend, the SUV they loved so much would be gone. Meanwhile, the family group chat exploded. My cousin Lily sent me screenshots. Tiffany wrote, "I can't believe she'd do this to her own family." Ryan added, "Classic Rebecca, never really part of the family anyway." And my mom? "She ruined my birthday. She always thought she was better than us." That one hurt most. My mom and I were never close, but I thought we had some level of respect. I had repaired her water heater, replaced her fridge, paid her bills when she fell short, all without expecting thanks. Yet here she was, throwing me under the bus to save face. Then Lily reached out privately. "Hey, if you're free this week, we need to talk. I know things. Stuff they've said. Stuff your mom's been saying for years. I just didn't know if you knew." Lily and I had never been particularly close, but she worked hard, paid her own bills, and never once asked me for money. She stayed out of the family drama, so her message caught my attention. Something told me I needed to hear her out. She chose a small cafe on Southern and Mill. When we met, she hugged me like no time had passed. She didn't order anything, and I barely touched my coffee. She got straight to the point. "I don't think you know how they talk about you when you're not around." I stayed quiet, and she continued. "They don't call you Rebecca. They call you the faucet. Because when they want something, they turn you on. When they've had enough, they turn you off. They think it's funny." That nickname had been around for years. It started after I bailed Ryan out of his second round of credit card debt, the one he lied about, saying it was medical, when it was really a failed crypto gamble. I remembered that Thanksgiving, the fake smiles, the toast to family loyalty, while I covered the bill. Lily went on, "Your mom's been telling people you owe her. She says you're the reason she had to give up everything, that you were a mistake she had to clean up." I forced a bitter laugh. My mom never said that to my face. Then Lily pulled out her phone, showing me a photo of an old letter. Torn edges, yellowed paper, dated January 1991, 2 months before I was born. It was from a man named Howard. He wrote that he couldn't raise a child that wasn't his, wished her well, and left. I read it twice before realizing what it meant. My mom was pregnant with me when this was written. Howard wasn't the man I called Dad. Lily then handed me another envelope with a photo of my mom, heavily pregnant, standing beside a man who looked uncannily like me. On the back, Howard, fall 1990. Suddenly, all the small things made sense. Why my dad never came to plays or parent-teacher nights. I thought he was distant, but the truth was, I wasn't his daughter, and the rest of the family had known. Lily said carefully, "Your mom tells people you should be grateful, that you owe her for not telling you. She says your entire career is her gift to you, that if she hadn't kept you, you wouldn't have anything." I sat there, staring at my coffee. All those years of funding their lives, the SUV, the groceries, the tuition, the vacations, the emergencies, and now this truth. At birthdays, holidays, and every family gathering, I was always just the faucet, an outsider who bought her seat at the table. Lily kept talking. She reminded me of something Ryan had said last year. He joked that I was lucky they even let me be involved, and that Mom only kept me around because I was useful. He laughed when he said it, but no one disagreed. My jaw tightened. I thanked Lily for telling me and left. We didn't hug goodbye, just walked away quietly in the parking lot. That night, I went home and pulled out the necklace my mom gave me last Christmas. She had called it a family heirloom, making a big scene as she passed it down, insisting it had been in our family for generations. I had worn it out of guilt. Now I packed it back into its box with no note and mailed it to her first thing in the morning. The next day, she called me 4 times in a row. I didn't answer. Then Ryan texted, "What's wrong with you?" I ignored that too. Later, the repo truck showed up for the SUV. Ryan didn't realize it was being taken until it was already in motion. Lily filmed the whole thing from her car. He stood barefoot in his driveway, yelling, while Tiffany cried on the porch. Neighbors watched. Lily sent me the video with 2 words: Phase 1. For the first time in a week, I laughed. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about reclaiming my space, completely outside their circle. By the time the SUV was gone, cracks in the family were showing. Tiffany posted an angry rant on Facebook about people who pretend to be generous but are cold inside. Most of her friends chimed in with support, but Lily left a single comment. Or maybe you just took advantage of the wrong person for too long. 10 minutes later, Tiffany deleted the post. Privately, texts started rolling in from my mom. "What's gotten into Lily? Did you put her up to this?" I ignored them, but Lily didn't. Instead, she shared receipts in the group chat. Screenshots of texts where Tiffany begged me to cover Ellie's preschool tuition. Emails from Ryan asking for rent help. Even a PayPal transfer I made to Mom when her furnace broke down. I had never saved any of it, but Lily had. Then she dropped the real bomb, an email chain between Mom and Ryan from last year. In it, Mom wrote, "I'm fine taking her money as long as she keeps quiet. Don't provoke her. Just keep her useful." I read that line 3 times. Keep her useful. That same day, my bank flagged multiple failed login attempts on an old account tied to Ryan's Amazon orders. I changed every password, froze my credit, and locked everything down. They weren't just upset anymore. They were desperate. Tiffany texted me later. "I don't know who you think you are, but this is your family." I replied with 1 sentence. "I finally believe you." From there, the spiral accelerated. Ryan and Tiffany started blaming Mom for encouraging their dependence. Mom accused Lily of being ungrateful. Dad stayed quiet until he finally texted, "You're tearing this family apart. I hope it was worth it." That one almost made me laugh. I was tearing the family apart? They had built this house of cards on my money. Pulling one thread was enough to unravel it all. Later, Lily called me again. She said Mom and Aunt Marlene had been talking about challenging the car repossession legally. But that wasn't the real concern. They were afraid I'd discover something else, something about Grandma's will. Lily explained that I had been left an inheritance, but Mom told everyone I refused it. Instead, it was divided quietly among Ryan and a few others. Lily didn't know the details, only that it involved property, not cash. The next morning, I contacted the law office that handled Grandma's estate. Years ago, Mom showed me what she said was the final version of the will, with no mention of me. I had believed her. This time, I requested the original. 2 days later, it came. Scrolling through, I found it. To my granddaughter, Rebecca Lynn, I leave the parcel of land in PAC, Arizona, along with the cabin built there in 1978. She spent summers there with me, and I hope she finds peace in it when she needs to. I froze. I remembered that cabin, faint memories of summers with Grandma when I was a kid. But after she got sick, the visits stopped, and I never heard about it again. When I dug deeper, I learned that 6 months after Grandma's death, the deed had been transferred to Ryan, signed by my mom using a medical power of attorney that expired the day Grandma passed. 3 days later, she claimed I had declined my inheritance. My lawyer called it what it was: fraud. We filed quietly, a claim to reverse the deed transfer and request a criminal investigation. Notices went out to Mom and Ryan within 24 hours. My phone lit up with calls I didn't answer. Soon after, Dad showed up at my door. He wasn't angry this time, but panicked. He begged me to talk. I told him no. He said, "You don't understand what this will do." I answered, "You should have thought about that before you gave away what was mine," and closed the door. Later, Ryan messaged me for the first time since the SUV repossession. His words were simple: "We didn't think you'd actually fight back." That's when I realized they weren't afraid of losing money. They were afraid of losing control. Not long after, Lily sent me a voice memo from a call she was accidentally added to with Mom, Marlene, and Tiffany. Mom's voice was clear: "If Rebecca takes the cabin, it'll validate everything. The car, the money, the way we treated her. We can't let that happen." Tiffany asked what to do. Mom replied, "We make her the villain." But this time, I had the proof. Documents, screenshots, recordings. For once, they were the ones unsure of what I might do next. 2 months passed quietly. No calls, no texts, no group chat notifications. Meanwhile, the cabin was legally mine again. The fraud was reported, and though charges hadn't been filed yet, the state was investigating. When I finally visited, the cabin was run down but familiar. The porch, the red shutters, even old toys in the weeds, it all came back. Inside smelled of dust and pine. It was mine now, not because someone handed it to me, but because I took it back. The fallout was steady. Lily said Ryan had started therapy at Tiffany's insistence. Their marriage was strained, finances unstable. Tiffany's mother cut off her support after learning about the SUV. They were barely keeping up with rent and daycare. Mom sent me a formal typed letter asking for closure. No apology, just a plea to let the family heal. I didn't respond. Instead, I drafted my own will. I left the cabin to Lily and set up a trust fund for girls aging out of foster care in Arizona. Money that once supported Ryan's family would now give strangers a chance. The cabin's land also held 2 acres, zoned for residential use. I put it up for sale. One offer came from a couple planning a retreat center for women recovering from abuse. Lily and I are meeting with them soon. I haven't told the family. Maybe they'll never know. But the truth is, they didn't just lose financial support. They lost the only person who never asked for anything in return. 6 months later, life is different. Up in PAC, the skies are clear, the trees are bright orange, and mornings feel calm. I've started sleeping in, not from laziness, but because I finally don't wake up to constant demands. The retreat center broke ground last week. It's called Marigold House. I helped clear brush one Saturday, came home sunburned and dirty, and felt more grounded than I have in years. That land was stolen from me once. Now it's being used for something good. I only ask for one thing in return: a bench in the garden. No plaque, just a place to sit. Back in Tempe, the silence from my family has been absolute. Ryan emailed once, trying to rebuild a bridge. I didn't respond. He later sent a Venmo request for $100 labeled gas. I let it expire. Tiffany posts online about toxic relatives and healing vibes. Mom has gone silent entirely. No calls, no letters, nothing. And honestly, that's better than any apology. Because cutting them off didn't leave me lonely. It left me lighter. I joined a book club, started therapy, upgraded my car, and began hosting dinners for friends who don't see me as a bank. Lily comes over often. Last time, she brought a novelty faucet toy that makes a pouring sound. We laughed until we cried. It sits on my windowsill now, not as a reminder of what they called me, but as proof the faucet is finally off. No more funding their lives. No more pretending neglect is love. No more buying a place at a table built on guilt. I build my own table now, and the people who sit there bring respect, honesty, and gratitude. My family once reduced me to what I gave them. Now, they can't even imagine my life without being told. And that's exactly how I want it. This isn't the story of someone being petty. It's the story of someone finally free and choosing to stay that way.